Welcome back to Redefine Parenting. I'm your host, Veenu Keller. I want to welcome you to Spanglish World Network and Her Network on Zingo TV, channels 250 and 251. Please remember to download both the Zingo TV app on respective app stores and iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. This app is free. Zingo TV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire Sticks, Roku Sticks, also on smart TVs 2016 and forward. Today, I have a very special guest. He has been a friend of mine for many, many years. We've shared different aspects of leadership with kids. And, hearing this guy speak really sends shivers down your spine because what he says to these kids, what he says to us parents, really makes us say, yeah, I could do that. Yeah, that's in me. And Marlon has been, like I said, an amazing friend. And I asked him to be on the show because we really have something in common. It's about our family, finding the joy in our family. And a lot of people don't know what joy is. And you can define joy however you want. Is joy when you're having dinner with your kids? Is joy when you're playing a board game and laughing? Some of us find joy. Sometimes I find myself just going in my kids' room at night and just watching their innocence and just sleeping. And I was like, wow, I find joy in that.
Right.
So without further ado, I want to welcome my guest, Marlon Smith, to our show, Redefine Parenting. Marlon, thank you so much for taking time to share your wisdom with me and our listeners.
Well, Veenu, I'm just so excited and congratulations to you and all your success. And, Redefine Parenting. I mean, what a phenomenal program. And I want to just commend you, my friend, because, you have been a blessing to me. And I'm just grateful to know you, right? And I think, one of the things, it's just even in the title, Redefining Parenting, I love that because, again, sometimes we're just sleepwalking. And what I think your program is doing, you and your team, is really having more of us throughout the world understand the value of being conscious, being in the moment. So I'm excited about today, and I'm really grateful to be here.
So we chose the topic. You and I were going back and forth because you and I could talk about a bazillion things, to be honest.
Right.
And one of the things you and I talked about is let's talk about how do we enjoy the actual joy in family. So, you heard me start off with saying like how different people define joy and
Right.
how I might define joy. How do you what do you see as joy in your family? And I know you're a single father, you're raising two kids. So what does joy look like for you now versus how it maybe used to look for you?
Joy is an inner game. Joy is an inner game, first and foremost. And so I realized that what a blessing it is. See, what you focus on becomes your reality.
Right.
And so having, spoken in 45 states, 18 countries, all over the world, Amazon #1 best-selling author, all of that's great. But you know what it really comes down to? It comes down to those precious moments. And for me, joy, the way I tap into it, to be very honest, is I journal. And so I want to encourage our viewers, to really consider giving yourself the blessing, the opportunity to, I like to call it deplug from the matrix, because sometimes we're moving so fast we don't slow down. And
Correct.
so what happens, and because again, I'm an engineer, I studied electrical engineering, graduate University of Virginia, worked at IBM, HP, so I'm very analytical. So I want during this session, as we're talking, Veenu, we understand it's not just rah motivation. We want to share some strategies. And so joy, this is something that I do, is I journal. I journal every day. And what that does, it's a gift. And I wanted to, parents, I'm talking to you because sometimes if we're honest, it just feels like, man, we're coming and going. We're just moving so fast, right? And so when you actually take a moment and you give yourself that grace to go ahead and journal, for me, I'll just, and I've shared this all over the world, and I get emails and letters from people saying, wow, thank you. Because sometimes we're just sleepwalking. We're moving so fast. We're not conscious. So to me, joy is really gratitude, being grateful. And what I have found, Venu, is that when I journal, I get still. And there's three questions, if I can share, that has helped me. Thank you. Because a lot of times, people have me come in and speak on leadership, corporations, organizations, so on and so forth. But it's an inner game, as I said. There are three questions. Question number one: what was great about today? What was great? Not what was good, what was great, right? Because when you come from, wow, looking at it from that perspective, your mind, and this, Venu, you teach this, what you focus on becomes your reality. So the power of questions, and I know you talk about empowering questions. And so what was great about today? It in your mind's a computer. It forces you to say, okay, what was great? Not what was good, what was great. So that's number one. Number two, what did I learn today? Right? I love that question because, there's so much going on in our lives. And so for me, taking time to say, what did I learn today? It allows me to tap into today was a great day, right? Then number three, last question is, what did I do today to move further to fulfilling my dreams and my goals? I think that's a powerful question because again, you're conscious about moving forward. My friend Les Brown always says, yard by yard, anything can be hard, but inch by inch, anything's a cinch. So just having that daily progress. And so the reason I'm bringing this up is because as parents, we can't give what we don't
I
have.
love
And so I really believe, me coming at it from a standpoint of, okay, what, let me first be at my highest good, right? Because then I can be a blessing. Then I can pour into my kids. But if I feel like I'm coming from a scarcity mindset or, I'm just overwhelmed, there's gonna be
it.
residue.
Right.
So that's, for me, joy, how do you activate it? It's by journaling. And again, those are just three questions that I've shared all over the world. And I hope some of your viewers can, take that, try it on. It's funny, Venu, when I say, how many of you keep a diary? None of the men raise their hands. but then when I say how many of you journal, a few men will
Right.
raise their hands, right? But my point is that life is to be lived. So
No,
you see,
love
I'm
there's a
motivated, girl.
couple things. Life is to be lived. I love that. The other thing is you can't give what you don't have. So we
Come on,
have
girl.
to start with us first. I was just talking to a client today about how our kids find out what a relationship is by watching a relationship. So if I am blaming and shaming my husband in front of my kids, and my husband's blaming and
Right.
shaming me, as my kids go
Come
up,
on.
they're going to seek to have a relationship like that because that's their definition of what a relationship, aka love, is. Because kids grow up
Right.
thinking, hey, my parents love each other. That's what love
They're
is. They're
together.
together. We see them together and they fight and they blame and they shame and they throw each other under the bus. Gee, that's what I have to go and look for because they don't have
Right.
any other influences in their life to give them what a
Right.
nurturing relationship is. And so I love what you said. I cannot give what I don't have. And it's
Come on.
interesting. So when I have the opportunity to drive my kids to school, one of the questions I always ask them is, what is today going to look like for you? What kind of day are you going to have?
Sure.
And when they're little, they used to say, oh, I'm going to have a Ninja Turtle day. I'm going to have, an Ariel day from Little Mermaid. And I would say, what does that look like? And my
Sure.
son would tell me. And now they're like, oh, I'm going to have a good day. And okay, great. So they always know what the next question is. And they actually say, and a good day looks like this, because they always know I'm going to say, and what does good look like to you?
Right.
And then when I get to pick them up from school, I go over whatever word they gave me that day. You
Mm.
know, you said you're going to have an outstanding day. Did that happen? And what did
Okay.
it look like? And what specifically made your day outstanding? What
Right.
specifically made your day good? Because there's so many opportunities. And I'm going to tell you, that's what brings joy to me. What brings joy to me with my kids is being able to converse with them, sharing their magic moments, not belittle what they tell me. Because if recess is their highlight of their day, who am I to say, really, again, recess? Can you find anything different? Instead, I match and mirror their enthusiasm about it and
Sure.
say, wow, recess again. That's amazing. What was different about recess today than
Mm.
yesterday?
Right.
Because I want them also to be able to pick out different things that are going on. Like you said, we are sleepwalking through our life. And
Mm.
it's I am a parent that wants to model for them what it's like to be awake, it's finding the different things in my life, even though I get into the same rigmarole of my life every
You're right.
day, a creature of habit, if you would.
Sure.
However, I want to be awake. I want to be awake and notice the 2 millimeter things that are happening in my life that might be
Right.
different today than yesterday. And how can I influence my own children to start being awake too, so they also don't have to sit here and sleepwalk through life?
That's right. That's right. Very good point. And being awake, and that's why again, journaling, you're stepping outside the matrix. Okay,
Mm,
that's one of my favorite movies, right? In the Matrix, right? I mean, so much symbolism. Hey, listen, for those listening, watching, I just want you to understand, I'm not even tied to the Matrix, but let me tell you, I watched that movie a few times. Even took a notebook into the movie theater, Veenu, by myself, right? And I was journaling the highlights. Telling you, right? I was like, yo, don't try to hit me, red pill, blue pill. I mean, y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready for me. I'm telling you now. But being awake, okay? I mean, let's just break, you said it. So, let's talk about that. Being awake,
mm,
and you think about, Morpheus going to Mr. Anderson, right? And he said, hey, do you want to take the red pill or the blue pill? You take the
right.
red pill, boom, you'll wake up, just you're Mr. Anderson, you're just going through life. Or, hey, you take this blue pill and life will never be the same again. And so I love that because, again, family, our international family, right? Redefining parenting all over the world. What if each one of us said, you know what? I'm going to be awake. And
Mm,
again, that's why I wanted to talk about the journaling, because, again, journaling for me, right? Just it helps me step outside the matrix,
I love
right?
it.
And joy, here's what I want you to also understand. Check this out, Veenu. This is why I share this. I'm an engineer by training. So how do you have a successful life? I would say many successful years. How do you have a successful year? Many successful months, right?
Yep.
How do you have a successful month? Many successful weeks. And how do you have a successful week? Many successful days.
I love
So
it.
if we are intentional, and we'll talk about intentionality, I know we will. If we're intentional with the daily successes, we'll have a successful life.
Mm,
And I think that's one of the things, I go from, it starts within. And so with that, once I'm journaling, another strategy, number two, is I have something called the daily accountability chart. Okay. I've done this with my children, right? Where they have certain things that they do on a daily basis. Because what's it's all about, really, our mission. Well, my mission, there's different parents and different, philosophies, and I want to be respectful. But for me, my intention is so that I help my children. Number three things, basically: have a relationship, with God, right? Number two, have high self-esteem, right? So that they feel good about themselves, and they're not getting their value from outside. And number three is to have the understanding of they're here on earth at this time for a purpose,
I
and for
love
them to maximize their leadership potential to bring more light to the world. That's
it.
that's it, right? That's it. And we were talking about my daughter, previously. I mean, she's now driving. I mean, she'll be 16. I mean, come on, Venu. You've seen her,
I
right?
know. I'm like, what? How did
Right?
you open your eyes and all of a sudden the kids are all grown up
Yeah.
and they're adults, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, and so time, why am I saying that? Because time keeps on ticking, ticking,
Yeah.
ticking, right into the future, right? And so the thing is this accountability chart, I'm even holding myself accountable. So,
Mm,
and I can share that with you, Vinu, and your audience, your global audience, if you like. But the thing is, every day I'm asking myself, hey, did I connect with Corey? That's my son. Did I
mm,
connect with Jade? Right? That's my
love it.
daughter. And I every day. So I put check marks. So it holds me accountable, right? To, and it allows me, this is what I love about it, is that it allows me to track. It allows me to see, hey, you know what? I didn't tell Corey I love him yesterday. Okay. All right, man. Boom. Because again, if we're just sleepwalking over the time keep on ticking, next thing you know, your kids are, 18, 20, 25, 30, right? And you're like,
Right.
where did time go? I think that's one thing we can all relate to. So I just wanted to share that as well. What are your 3 to thrive, or what are the things you need to do on a daily basis
So
to
that's
be
one
your
thing that
best?
I love is that, like, for my audience, my listeners, what are you doing for accountability and to see how
That's
you're
good.
connecting? What's your accountability?
Right.
Marlon just gave you his. He has a check mark system. Is that, did I connect with my son? Did I
Right.
connect with my daughter? And I'm going to start doing that. So thank you, Marlon. I'm
Thank
going to
you.
start implement that today because I want to make sure that I'm connecting with my children because we think we do.
Right.
We think that we connect all the time. I do anyway. I think I'm so connected with my kids. And in reality, when I ask them a question, how did we spend time together? How do you think that, we connected today?
Mm.
If I was going to be honest, they
Mhm.
probably would say, I mean, I guess when you took me to school, that's not my only connection with them. And
Right.
so if they're not seeing it, even though I am, right?
Right.
I have a 15-minute break between clients. I'm running down there and like getting them a snack and talking to them about their day. But to them, if they don't see it, then it's not
Correct.
happening. So
Y-
I have to know their formula. What's
Come on.
their formula for us connecting?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they're not wrong, I'm not wrong. But the truth is, we all have our different filters. And I want to help my
Yeah.
children expand their filter to realize that it doesn't take me sitting down and playing a board game with you to really connect. How else can we connect?
Sure.
What is connection to you?
Yeah.
But I love the accountability of the check mark system because just like anything else, you know,
Mm.
like my mentor Tony Robbins says, you can't manage what you don't measure.
Correct.
So we have to measure it. We have to be able to measure.
Yeah.
If we measure the finances, right? We measure how many clients we're seeing, how much money we're bringing in. If
Yeah.
you work 9 to 5, what's your paycheck? What's your budget? That's all measuring.
Right.
But are we measuring what we're working for?
Come
Our
on.
children, our life.
That's good. That's good. That's good. And I see Emily gave some hearts. So thank
Yes.
you, Emily. The other thing about that, Venu, is joy, right? So we've touched about gratitude. We talked about accountability. We talked about asking yourself empowering questions. Another strategy I want to share, and this is really, I think that it really, you're going to see how it all intertwines. We have a poster board, and we call it blessings slash miracles. Okay.
Oh,
Come on, girl. And so
love
what happens is we have columns, right? So you have Dad, you have Jay, you have Corey, right? And so every day, right, each one of us is to write in our column the blessing of that day slash the miracle of that day.
it.
And what that does is it allows you to be like, whoa, wow, today was a good day. Yeah, there were some, knocks and not everything went the way I wanted, but to be appreciative, come on, somebody, to be appreciative of, what was a blessing that you consider a blessing or what you consider a miracle. I'm telling you, it's a game changer. It's a game changer. So I want to encourage parents. Like I said, we have it on a poster board. You have the little tape, and so we put it up on the wall, and then we have some magic markers, and then people, each one of us can write, our blessing, our miracle. And so I wanted to share that because when we talk about joy, and you're talking about connecting with our children, what a great gift to be able to see what's bringing them joy, what's they consider a blessing or a miracle. It
Right.
opens up the door for communication.
That is amazing. And so, hear what he's saying, everyone out there. He has a poster board, like a whiteboard, and they're marking it down. Another thing that I've worked with families with for years, there's a couple ways. They have a magic moment jar
Mm,
every day, and they have a little notepad, like a little 3x3 notepad. And every day when they come home from school or before they go to bed, they
right.
write something they're grateful for or something that was a magic moment, and they put
That's
it in
right.
that jar. At the end of the month, they have their little family meeting and they pull out, and someone just reads all the blessings, all the magic
Yes.
moments, all those gratitude moments in that month,
Right.
and relive it again.
Yes.
Got chills. Like, that is amazing. And it's the same idea of, if we can start to demonstrate and celebrate the moments of our life each and every day. You say, like, that successful year, successful month, successful
Mm,
weeks, successful day? What about successful hours?
Hmm.
Successful minutes. It's like,
Successful moments. I mean,
yes,
that's what you're really saying. I mean,
yes,
and yeah, and just
yes.
you really, I just want to jump in because when I'm 95 years young and I look back on my life, what's really going to matter is the treasured memories and the loving relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, just let that sink in. When I'm 95 years young, see, I'm already, out in the future.
Right. You're projecting already. You're
Yeah,
going,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, 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 exactly. And so when I'm 95 years young and I'm reflecting on my life, come on, what's really going to matter is the treasured memories and the loving relationships.
yep.
I still remember Venu when you and I were down in Florida and at an event, and it was at the convention center.
Mm-hmm.
And I shared a few video clips on your behalf. Just sharing how powerful you are, and I just will never forget that. Like that was a magical moment, right?
Mm.
For me, and that's something, a treasured memory that I can still go back to, right? Because again, as I look at it, it's just life is a series of experiences.
Yes.
And for the parents, I want to say that you're blessed. I just, I don't know where you are in your life. I don't know what's going on, but I want to say you're blessed. For
Mm.
you to be connected with Redefining Parenting, for you to be connected to this phenomenal program, there's something in your consciousness, there's something in your spirit that has connected you. And you can feel Venu's passion, her sincerity. And so you're blessed. And what I want to encourage you. We talked about accountability. I want to encourage you to share with your family, your friends about this phenomenal program because each one teach one, each one reach one.
Say
And
that one more time. Say it. That's one of my favorite sayings you and Chuck have taught us. Please say that one more time.
yeah, each one teach one, each one reach one,
Mm.
right? And when I lived in South Africa, there's a Zulu word. My South African name, my Zulu name is Sipo. And when the church gave me this name, based on the interactions with me and whatnot, and Sipo in the Zulu language means gift. And
Mm.
so I'm very grateful. And again, I get a little teary eyed because that was, 1993 when I first visited South Africa and then opened up an office over there and just amazing. But what I want to say is this: there's a word called Ubuntu, and Ubuntu is a Zulu word, and it means I am because we are.
I am because we are. I love it.
Yeah. And that's what you're creating the new through this movement, through this family, this online community, is you're saying, hey, you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes our thoughts, right? You remember cartoons, right? There's that good angel and there's that negative angel, right?
Right.
And they're the battlegrounds right here. And what you're doing is you're offering individuals the opportunity to understand, you're not alone.
Right.
And you're here and you're doing your best. And so I see people, typing in the chat box, and I love it. Uncle Sile has said, I am blessed. And I see Emily has posted. So, man, thank you. Because again, this is what it's about. It's about us all leveling up, taking it to the next level. And so I'm just grateful. I'm excited.
Yeah. There's somebody that is on a platform that I listen to, Keith Ferrarzine. He teaches co-elevation. Right?
There you go.
Elevate. How do we, and co is together, right? Like, how do we elevate together? And, um, I believe it's, in Hindi or one of the Indian languages, so many different
Sure.
Indian languages, namaste means the light in me sees the light in you.
Right.
If you think about all these different cultures, it's nothing about me, 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 me. It's always about us makes me.
That's right. That's right.
I see in you what I see in me. It's the
Mm,
reflection of what life is supposed to look like. And I
mm.
do have, and those magic moments, I just want to go back to that because I do remember being at that convention center. And I remember, my son, who's now 24,
Wow.
he
Gosh.
was 16. He went through the program that you were the facilitator for. And I said, Marlon, my son's having a tough time right now.
Mm.
Could you take a moment and just send him a video,
Wow.
And I
Wow.
remember taping you like in the hallway. You're
Yes.
there,
Yeah.
you're there for your own self. And you said, you know what?
Thank you.
I'll get in the room when I get in the room. Let me do this for him.
Mm,
And you
mm,
stopped without going in that room. And you said, let's just do it now. I'm like, no, 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 I'll get you on a break. You're like, no, 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 no. I'll
mm.
do it now for you.
Wow.
You spoke from your heart. And I remember, and when
Wow.
I
Thank
shared that with my son, it lit him up, and
you.
he has your book, right? That
Right.
I don't know how many page journal it is, but it's an everyday
Yeah.
actionable
Living with purpose.
living with
40
purpose.
days. Mhm.
40 days actionable. Every day you take an action to make
Yeah.
your life, to live your life on purpose.
That's
And
right.
Marlon has this amazing book, guys. I would highly recommend getting this,
Thank you.
especially for your kids, because again, like
Mm.
he said in the beginning, is that he wants his kids to know they are here for a purpose.
That's right. That's
you
right.
know, Marlon, what I love about you is the integrity that you walk with, is
Mm.
that not only do you say, hey, I want my kids for this, you wrote a book on it so every parent's kids can
Right.
live with purpose, right?
That's right.
Uh, and this all circles back to what is the joy? The joy is watching our kids.
Yeah.
And you listeners have heard me say this. This is our boot camp with them. From birth to 18 is our boot camp.
Mm.
How do we want to shape them, train them? What values do we want to install in our children?
Right.
Go out there and be the best human being, not doing, that they can be in this world for others and for themselves,
That's
to
right.
teach them the value that they have in this world. That is what
Yeah.
self-worth is. It's knowing that I matter in this world, that I belong in this world, that I am loved in this world. And it starts with themselves first. And
That's right.
Marlon, that's like my mission, is like to give these kids a childhood they won't have to heal from. It starts at this basic thing, is they have a purpose here.
Right.
We were on this earth to guide them, not
Come
dictate
on.
to them. Guide
That's
them
right.
through it, to be curious and not critical, and to show them what unconditional
Mm.
love is. Because if we can show them and they
Mm.
can feel it, then they'll go out into this world and preach it and be it and see it and do it, because
Right.
it's what they've already picked up in our learning. There's
Yes.
one thing that you say, that you start off the program every
Mhm.
year,
I
that there
do.
is greatness in
That's right.
this room. There
Yes.
is greatness in you. Yes, you. There is greatness in this room.
That's right.
Could you
Yes.
just share for our listeners,
Mm.
what is it that you see in all these children that because you have absolute certainty when you say it? Like,
Mm.
it's
I
like
do.
if a child didn't believe it, they believe it now after
That's
you have
so
said it,
true.
right? So
Yes.
explain to us, the listeners out there, and how they can also see that greatness in their own child, even if that child is having some challenges
That's
with
right.
school or authority or with their own selves. Like, how can a parent see that greatness in their own child?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you, Venu, and thank you. I'm so happy that your son is doing so phenomenally well. Because here's the thing. Here's the truth of the matter. Life is a journey, and in life, there's going to be ups and there's going to be downs. There's going to be, what do they call it? Peaks and valleys.
Oh yeah.
And what I've realized is that life is like an emotional roller coaster. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. But isn't it true? It's when you go through those low points, that's when you grow the most. If you really think about it, when you're going through the low point, that's when you grow the most. And there's always ups and downs, but now by learning lessons, it has an upward progression. And so, just like when I listened to you and Joseph, your conversation a few weeks ago, and I remember him talking about how his son is a gamer and that's his thing. And Joseph had to connect with his son on that level. And it was really powerful because my son also, loves the gaming. And so I've had to enter his world, right? Because remember, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so just by me connecting with my son on that level, he sees, wow, dad finds treasures the time with me.
Right.
And so when we talk about greatness, when we talk about seeing the potential, that's what you feel. That's my certainty, because I know I've been there. Venu, let's talk real. Can we talk real? Okay.
Absolutely.
Can I share? Right. There was a time in my life when I had a 1.6 GPA. All right. I know some of you like, ooh, you dumb. I didn't have focus. Okay, okay, give me grace. But I had a 1.6 GPA. I was influenced by negative peer pressure. I had low self-esteem. Okay. And so I know what it feels like to feel like an outsider, to feel like, I'm not good. I'm not worthy. And so that's why I can speak with so much certainty. I have to pinch myself sometimes. Public speaking was my number one fear. I went to college, University of Virginia, electrical engineering, pretty good at math and science. And, I'm like, oh, okay, I can do math and science, but I was tricked. Even in my engineering curriculum, we had something called humanities courses, right? And so I had to give presentations, I had to do papers, right? And I fast forward, I'm like, wow, I now speak for a living, right?
Mm,
I have to, I'm just so grateful. Like, God has a sense of humor, right? Because that was my number one fear. And so I know, and that's why, and let me be very honest with you. I've had people all over the world come up to me. And again, this might be just a leadership program, for, at a corporation or at a college, whatnot. And I've had, when I'm doing book signings, and I've had people like be the last person to come up, and I've had people share with me that, they make sure nobody's around. And then they say, I'm glad I came because I was thinking about suicide
mm.
before hearing your presentation. And, we hug, and I used, I say a prayer. Um, and that to me is the importance of a parent.
Yeah.
And we don't know what our children are going through. And here's the thing, when COVID, we're still feeling the ramifications of it. I have some friends that are counselors and therapists, and they've been telling me like social anxiety. It is like, wow. And so when COVID hit, I saw that so many people were having challenges, that I actually created something called GAPAPS, GAPAPS.com, right? And it's a leadership program. So I talk about goals, I talk about attitude, plan, action, persistence, success. GAPAPS.com, right? And it's been really great, Veenu, because I've had families go through it together,
Mm,
together and they're connecting because they're getting clear on their goals. You talked about it earlier, like you and your children, you may say, oh yeah, we connected, but it was something that you said that was so profound, was unless that child has that same experience of it, they can just be like, oh no, mom just drove me to school, or
mm.
okay, mom fixed lunch, and you're thinking, hey, I connected with them. But
Right.
again, right, you're like, hey, woohoo, I did, and they're like, whatever. And so, but having your goals, right? And that's what I'm saying. Like, you've seen me do like the goals affirmation collage, with audiences, where that's beautiful. And again, having our young people, and sometimes, you ask somebody, okay, what do you want to be? And they'll say, oh, a doctor, a lawyer, football player. But what I've done to go a little bit deeper, and this might be a strategy for your parents, and I outline this more in GAPAPS, my program, my online program, but getting some old magazines, some poster board or cardstock paper, and get some glue sticks, some scissors, put some music on, and you as a family, basically, the instructions are, hey, you're going to go through these magazines, any words that resonate with you, any pictures that really connect with you, you cut them out. And then what you're going to do is you're going to, with the glue stick, you're going to paste them onto your goals affirmation collage. And then we also have markers. We encourage, families to have some markers or pens. So, people can write out, additional things, right? I tell you, I get emails all over the world, say, hey, you came to our corporation. Hey, you came to our organization. You came to our school. You talked about this goals affirmation collage. Thank you. Because it's made a difference. And again, that's another strategy, right? That's because again, that's who I am. That's what I want to share specific things, tools, strategies that people can implement, right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
so that to me is really powerful. And then again, perhaps there's, 6 different strategies to reinforce all of that. But that's just another resource is what I'm saying, right?
Well,
Because again, sometimes we can feel like we're alone, but I'm clear that it's really about success leaves footprints. And so if I can learn from others like this program, right? Or other thought leaders, okay? And I can take some of their strategies, boom, okay, voila. So just wanted to share that.
right. So there's a question, but before I ask this question, I just want to just comment on that is that, again, when you do things like that, you have like a vision board as a family together. We talk about
Right.
vision boards on our own. Like, I have a vision board. I'm going to create this and I want this and I see it and it's happening. What does it look like though if you can create a vision board as a family that your child is absolutely able to share their goals? Because a lot of kids that I coach, they're like, well, I don't know what I want to be. But if I
Right.
ask them, well, what does your parents want you to be? Oh, they could tell me right away.
Right.
And if their parents ask, oh, well, my kid knows what they want. No, no, no. Your kids know what you want them to be. And
Sure.
they think that they need to be that for you to continue to love them. They don't want to
Mm,
disappoint you.
mm.
And by taking this opportunity that you just described to really just focus in on this vision board with your child gives you an opportunity to open up your mindset to see what do they really want, what lights them up.
That's
Do
right.
you know that a lot of parents don't even know their kid's favorite color, let alone what they want to be or their dreams?
Right.
Like, it's astonishing that parents don't know this. And
Mm,
yet, if you ask them, they have this deep relationship with them and whatnot. So again, where do you find the joy in your family? Like, these are all just different things that Marla and I are having a conversation about that
that's
are
right.
different ways that we find joy, that we share with other people how to find the joy in their family. You can find joy
Mm.
anywhere. But one of the things that you said is like, are you enjoying that joy? Or is it just another moment that you're sleepwalking through?
Right. Exactly. And and I think that that's really the key is, connecting with yourself, right? And again, for me, it's connecting with myself, and the higher source. And then because as you said earlier, I can't give what I don't have. And so if I'm operating, if I'm vibrating at a higher frequency, right? Energetically. And everyone always says, Marlon, you are so positive, right? Because I'm doing things like this, right? Even A in GAPAPS is attitude. And so every morning, check this out. Every morning, every night before I, go to bed after I brush my teeth, I look myself in the mirror. I give myself some positive affirmations, right? I actually do this every single day, morning and night. And basically, I'm just, just looking in my eyes. Sometimes we don't even pause
Right.
to connect with ourselves. And so I say, hey, Marlon, you did great. You are awesome. You're a
Yes.
blessing. You are here. You're a light, right? And then I also help people develop their mission statement, right? So my mission statement is I, Marlon Christopher Smith, see, hear, feel, and know that the purpose of my life is to be a shining, smiling light, enjoying the daily miracles, co-creating with God, growing where I'm better than the previous day, and sharing my love with the world, right?
Mm,
I mean, when I say that, boom, I mean, I'm anchored. And so that to me is the power, of this conversation. Joy is a choice, right?
mm,
And I believe it's an action, right? I don't think it's just a feeling. No, it's an action, right? And
absolutely.
and just like love, right? Love, I feel in love. I fell out of love with that person. No, 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 no. No, love is an action.
Mhm.
It takes energy. It takes work, right? And so when you start to really understand that, like, yo, okay, responsibility, able to respond. So I love this, and I know we got this question, but C plus B equals A. What I conceive in my mind, and I believe in my heart, I will achieve. C plus B equals A. And so I think for our parents, when you talk about joy and you talk about just, what do you conceive in your mind? What do you feel in your mind that you are striving for? 20 years from now, where do you want to be? Right?
Mm,
Because what you do today will dictate where you'll be tomorrow. So okay, boom, okay, that's conceive. I see, right? Stephen Covey, talks about, start with the end in mind, right? 7 habits of highly effective people. So C, conceive. Then
mm,
B, believe, right?
Right.
But you see, the conceiving, that's why, having your goals, affirmation, a vision board, where you can see it, but to believe it, that's why, again, journaling, that's why doing the mirror exercise, it
Mm.
allows you to say, you're reinforcing. You mentioned living with purpose, 40 days. Some people say it takes between 27 and 32 days to create a habit. I was like, let's go 40, make
Let's
sure
go
they get it.
40. Okay,
Right.
so just so you all know, Marvin's a little bit of an overachiever, and he shares that. That's why he did it 40 days. He was going to make sure that your kids knew what purpose. Marlon, thank you, because I mean you're just dropping like absolute gold right now, and I
Thank you.
appreciate that. I'm looking at this question, and I know that our show's about joy, and yet I like to give space. So when there is a question, we're
Yeah.
here. Let's look at it. So someone had just asked, if your child is age 15, comes to you and says he or she wants to try a vape pen, do you say no because I am the parent? Do you let
Mm.
them try it in front of you and hope they dislike it? Or do you tell them to ask the other parent? So there's different facets of this that I'm just going to chunk it down to. Number one, celebrate your kids coming to you.
Right.
Celebrate they're not
Yeah.
going behind your back, that
That's
they're
right.
not trying this, that there's something about you that your child feels safe with. They feel safe to come to you to talk to you about that. So first
Mhm.
of all, celebrate that.
That's
And
it.
find the joy in that too. Okay. Find the joy in your child coming to talk to you about something that most kids will do behind our back. Second of all, remember anything that we use in our body, whether it's drugs, alcohol, vape pen, whatever it is, if it's your child cutting or whatever, it is a release for something. What
Mm.
is it that they want to release? You know, and sometimes it's also peer pressure. It's, I don't feel I belong. And the only way I know how to belong in this group is if I do it. And
Right.
there's
Mm.
obviously some hesitation if they're coming and talking to you about it. So,
Mm.
I am not here to tell you what to do or what not to do, but I just want to get you curious about this subject because you, as the parent, have to make that choice. You have to figure out, if I am the guide for this child, if I was put on this earth to guide this child,
Mm.
how do I want to guide them? You know, I've had other clients that have told their kids, you know what? Before you put any chemical in your body, I want you to research what are the pros and cons, if you can find
Mm.
any, about this, about smoking marijuana, about smoking cigarettes, about doing a vape pen. And
Right.
that child has to do this research because the parents want to make sure that if you are doing this, you know exactly the consequences that your body's going to have in turn from,
Mhm.
doing that. So, that's, I mean, I know I'm not answering you what you should do because that's not my job to answer. My job's not here to tell you what you can do. But I will tell you, if you get curious and not critical, and you tell your kid how honored you are that they come to you to talk to you, they're going to come to you more. And then maybe you guys can make this decision together to see what's best going to serve your child and how will you be the best parent that you can be. Because if
Mm.
you decide to say, hey, go ahead and try it and, hope they don't like it. I mean, I remember when I told my kid, if you want, and this is way before people, I'm going to put this caveat, way before I got into the whole parenting and doing it the right way, because I did believe I did it the wrong way. I told my kid, I said, if you ever smoke a pack of cigarettes, I'm going to make you smoke a whole pack in front of me, and you're not going to stop until you throw up. Now, I would not advise that. Like
Mm.
that's not the advice I give. And yet, it was the same concept of how can I make them hate it so they don't want it anymore?
Right.
The problem is that I was smoking at the time. I used to,
Mm.
so again, I had to change my habits if I ever expected to be a better, role model for my children. And I did. I quit smoking many, many years ago.
Mm.
And because I wanted to walk my talk, I wanted to walk in integrity. I'm not going to tell my kids don't do this while I'm doing it, you know.
Right. Right.
So so that's what I have to give to this family. I don't know if you have a different answer that you would want to share with them.
Mm. Yeah, I want to say thank you. Thank you for posting the question. I definitely agree with the new about celebrating the fact that your 15-year-old child came to you. I think that's really a phenomenal gift for even strengthening the relationship that you have, because what it does is it allows you to go deeper, and understanding, okay, why do you want to try it? I mean, I think that's would be a great opening, okay, let's talk about it. What do you want to try? I mean, and just engaging in that conversation, so you can really understand their world, right? Venu said it could be peer pressure, it could be maybe, they want to escape, but going a little bit deeper. So I just want to encourage you to have that conversation, because again, unconditional love it wins.
Mm.
Love wins. I'm very clear, and I've seen it, and I've been blessed, because when I come from love, and sometimes we have to agree to disagree, but I have found that it opens up, it opens up a deeper level of connection. So again, that's what I would encourage you to do, and just really grateful for this time.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Marlon. I appreciate that. And, um, you know, I think this parent's lucky. We're living in a time where, kids feel that they got the answers. They got it.
Mm,
Like they don't need advice. They're going to do what they're going to do.
right.
And, part of redefined parenting is how are we parenting in a different way to be able to give our kids that open, safe, and trusting space to come and talk to us.
Mm,
And this parent is really lucky because they're doing something right. They're doing something
right.
right with their child. Their 15-year-old at that can
Right.
come because our brains don't develop like for guys it's 28, for girls it's 25, the frontal lobe, so they don't know the long-term effects. They don't get the whole
Mm,
executive
mm,
reasoning of the choices that they're making in their life. So we have to be that frontal lobe for our children, especially
right.
at 15, 16, 17, when they think they have all the answers. Because I sure as heck know that when I was 18, I literally thought I had all the answers and I lived by them.
Right.
I realized that mom was right. Like I really needed a t-shirt that just said mom was right. Mom's always right. She's wrong. She's not. She's right.
MWR. Mom was right.
Right. Mom is right. So we just have a few more minutes, Marlon. If you were going to, just give like your top three, suggestions, gold nuggets for parents to take away right now to really start enjoying the joy in their family, what would you leave them with?
Yeah, I would say definitely, for you to enjoy you. And, we talked about various strategies already, as far as, the journaling questions. I think that is a powerful gift to give to yourself. Doing the mirror exercise, that's another strategy that just, when you look yourself in the eyes and you speak life, it transforms you. Doing the goals affirmation collage, right, with your family. That's a great way just to celebrate. And to me, that's really, and again, we can talk about mission statement and other things. And for your, for those that you feel, like we've connected, and Venu, I'd love for you to, just please post, the GAPAPS, GAPAPS.com. For anybody that feels like they want to go a little bit deeper, it's a virtual program. You'll see, you get videos, you get worksheets, and so on and so forth. And it's really great, and so again, that's www.gapaps.com, GAPAPS. And so, in closing, I just like to say, remember, a vision without action is just a dream. A lot of action without a vision is merely a passing of time. But a vision with action can change the world.
Mm. Thank you, Marlon. And yes, on my YouTube channel, I will post that link for sure so people can
Thank
get more
you.
resources. And I appreciate, and you are a great resource. And I am so honored that you chose to come on Redefine Parenting because it really is helping parents see, every child is different. Every child we need to parent differently. There's just not one way to parent every single child on this earth. And I just want to
Mm,
repeat again, what you said about each one teach one, each one reach one. And,
yeah.
you know, the person that we can reach right now is our own child. Is you
Mm,
have the capacity to influence your child when you're not judging them.
right.
So, as I always say, be curious, not critical. Marlon, again, thank you for being
Mm,
on our show. If
thank you.
you are finding value in the conversations here on our show, please join our Redefine Parenting group on Facebook for even more tips and conversations. If
Mm,
you know someone, do them a favor and share my group with them as well, so they too can hear what they need to in order for them to feel supported in their own parenting journey. This
Yes.
show can also be heard on Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out www.spanglishworld.ca for all your news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it.